Hi there, thanks for joining me today. I've been talking for a little bit about doing a video based around my favorite brushes, so that's what this is going to be. So the first brush, this actually doesn't have a brand. I think I got it on Wish or Amazon, but I actually like this for applying primers or sunscreens, which is not necessarily something I would always do with a brush, but when I'm at home and I can afford that luxury, I do. So any brush that it has like this paddle shape and is flat like this will work well for that purpose, and I just dip it into the product and apply to my face. The next brush is the e.l.f. 106 brush. It's got this nice cool little swirly top here. The packaging really nice, pretty, feels nice when you hold it. And I feel like this little swirl in the brush here kind of helps disperse foundation a little bit better on your face, definitely blends it out nice and smooth. I'm not a huge fan of applying foundation with a brush in general, but with this one, yes. I have two concealer brushes that I want to talk about. This one is the same brand as that No Name flat brush, and is similar but different from this Flower Beauty concealer brush that does not seem to have a name either. This one, as you can see, has this little angle here to it, and these I kind of interchange, but generally I'll use one for concealer and one for color corrector. I really like the Flower Beauty one for color corrector because it kind of just disperses everything and thins it out a little bit more. This would compare to just about any real dense concealer brush, but I do feel like it gives me a nice airbrushed finish. The other thing I like to use this Flower Beauty brush for occasionally is contour, because it's real small so it won't blow things out too much, but it's still, especially with that angle, lets you get right up in that cheekbone area. Hi, say hi. You're so pretty. Okay, goodbye. So the next brush that I'm going to talk about is the e.l.f. 105 brush. This is another one in that Beautifully Bare packaging collection. And this is a nice, if you can tell, stippled brush, relatively small. I use this one for blush frequently, but you could also use it for bronzer, contour even, highlight, anything on the face that you are using a cream for. This will just disperse it very nice and evenly. And I do have a couple of brushes that I use for powder on my face here that I want to talk about, even though I haven't been using powder on my face quite as much as I used to. The first one, this is the Furless, and it's likely makeup collaboration. This is the Pro F5. And it's this nice angled, kind of fluffier brush, but still on the smaller side, same as that Flower Beauty brush that I showed you earlier. I just like to take this for contour right up into that cheekbone area, and because of that angle, this makes it very easy to do so. Last face brush I'm going to talk about is this fun large fan brush from Eco Tools. I'm pretty sure I bought this back when fan brushes were all of the rage. Oh, you know what? I do have one more brush I gotta find. When fan brushes were all the rage for applying a highlight, and I still didn't know very much about makeup or brushes, so I bought this big boy to apply highlight with, and I don't use it for that purpose, but I do use this to apply bronzer, which I don't really have much of on at the moment, so I'm just gonna show you how I use it to do that. And I just kind of lightly tap into the bronzer, and then get my hair out of the way here, just very lightly apply it to the forehead and also to the cheeks, and I just feel like it gives a nice kind of fluffed out. Sometimes I'll even take it up here to the bridge of the nose, but basically it just, yeah, I keep saying everything diffuses, but that's what how I like to feel about my makeup, is that it's nicely diffused and nothing looks too obvious or stands out too much from the rest of my face. And this is the e.l.f. masking tool. It's got this little silicone spatula here that you can, you know, squeeze a mask on there and apply it to your face. Again, that might seem like a bit much for some people, but I don't like to get products all over my hands. It feels wasteful, it feels gross, let's be honest. And then it actually has this other side that kind of helps you remove more stubborn masks. I can get some stuff that gets stuck in like the crevices of my nose and everything. So you just take that and get in there and it helps remove everything from your face. So honorable mention here. Last face powder brush I wanted to talk about is this e.l.f. highlighting brush. It's just this small-ish tapered brush. I was talking before about using fan brushes for highlights. I do have a fan brush, but I don't use it all that frequently for highlights because I prefer to swirl this in there and then just do a real targeted application on the high points of my cheeks, sometimes up onto my nose, forehead, wherever else I feel like putting my highlight that day. I do have almost entirely drugstore brushes here. There's a couple that are also from that For Less It's Likely makeup collab. I'll just talk about those real quick first and get them out of the way, and then I'll dive into all the drugstore stuff. I do feel it's entirely possible to purchase brushes on a budget. Most of the more inexpensive brushes that I've purchased, a lot of them work better than some of the most high-end brushes that I have. This is the, I don't know because everything's rubbed off of it. What about this one? This is the Pro 3M, so we'll talk about that one real quick first, but it's just this really small little guy, and I use this brush to do my inner corner highlight or a little bit of a brow bone highlight. And for this big boy, I just like to load this up with my like skin tone color and set my eye base with this. But it's just such a nice big fluffy beast that it's just, you know, quick and easy. I have 3 e.l.f. brushes I'm going to talk about. These two with the white handle are from, I think, their oldest brush collection, if I'm not mistaken. This is just called eyeshadow brush. Some I feel like of this shape brush will be called like a C brush, but it's just a pretty short little guy that's pretty tightly packed here, and I just like to use this. I'll load this up with shadow and just pack it on. And this one from e.l.f. is the defining eye brush, and I like to use this one to diffuse eyeshadow that I put underneath. So I constantly put on way too much eyeshadow underneath of my eyes, and I will just take this and just use it to, I don't know, it's something about the shape, how it's angled like that makes it really easy to get under there, and because it's smaller but still got a little bit of fluff to it, it just works very well for that purpose. The last e.l.f. brush I want to talk about is this tiny little baby, and this is the e.l.f. small smudge brush. This is one of the only brushes that I will use for gel eyeliner because of how flat it really is. These two are similar but different. This one is from Eco Tools. This is the defined crease, and this one's from Real Techniques, and this is the base shadow brush. I do feel this one's just a tiny bit smaller, so I will use this for a little bit more of a defined crease or more detailed, like less, just to keep it in there a little bit more, whereas if I'm kind of trying to, you know, spread the color out a bit more, I'll use like this one because it's a little bit fluffier. This is a Sonia Kashuk brush. I don't know if they still make it with this packaging. I'm sure they still make the same brush though, but it's just this nice little flat guy who doesn't have a name, and I like the shape of it. This I will use to apply like a shimmer all over the lid. It's perfect to spray a little bit of setting spray on, get nice and damp, dip into the shadow, and it always just picks up a good amount, which can be difficult at times, and if I don't feel like using my fingers, I will use this instead. Last but not least, This is from the brand Simply Essential. Pretty sure this was a Ross or TJ Maxx purchase. This is the F6 flat concealer brush. I don't use it for that purpose at all because of the flat top here. For some reason, this just works really well at picking up fallout from my face. So if I do my eyes and get a lot of fallout, I've been trying to get used to doing my eyes first to avoid that issue, but I'm not very good at it. So instead, when I get fallout, I will just take this and ever so slightly brush it away, and it has a tendency to be picked up by the flat edge of the brush and not dragged across the face. So those are my favorite brushes. Here they all are in all their glory. Thumbnail. And yeah, like I said, most of these are very affordable brushes, and even the ones that are not necessarily as affordable, I probably have very similar brushes in my collection to them that cost a lot less. I don't like to spend a lot of money on brushes, and I don't feel like you have to just to be good at makeup. So yeah, purchase wisely. Don't let the super expensive stuff suck you in because you don't necessarily need that. And if you want to build up to that, that's fine. But you can definitely get started on a budget. That's all I wanted to say. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope you got something out of this. And if you did, let me know. And also let me know what you'd like to see from me next. Love you guys.